The once steady hum of the Stellantis assembly plant in Brampton, Ontario, is fading, a sound that for decades has been the heartbeat of this community. For generations, families have relied on the steady paychecks and sense of purpose that came from working within these walls. Now, the silence settling over the plant is more than just the absence of machinery. It's a signal of uncertainty for thousands of people whose lives are intertwined with the factory's fate. This moment marks a profound turning point for workers, their families, and the local economy. The ripple effects are immediate and far-reaching, from the workers clocking out with anxious faces, to the small businesses that depend on their daily routines, to the schools and services funded by the plant's tax dollars. The Brampton plant, renowned for producing iconic Dodge Chargers and Challengers, now faces a 2-year shutdown as it prepares to retool for electric vehicle production. This transition, while promising a greener future, leaves a cloud of uncertainty hanging over workers and their families, who are left wondering when, or if, they'll return to the jobs they've held for years. This isn't just a temporary pause in production, it's a seismic disruption that reverberates through every corner of the community. Households are tightening their belts, local businesses are bracing for lean times, and city officials are scrambling to adjust budgets in the face of shrinking revenues. The shutdown exposes just how fragile communities can be when they're built around a single industry, and how quickly stability can give way to anxiety. Brampton's story is not unique. It's a microcosm of the broader challenges facing Canada as the country navigates the global shift toward electrification and contends with fierce international competition. The race to build the cars of the future is on, and the stakes are high for workers, companies, and entire communities. The real question now looms large. How will Canada protect its workers and communities as the industrial landscape transforms? Can the country find a way to balance innovation with security, ensuring that no one is left behind in the race toward a new economic era? The answers will shape not just Brampton's future, but the future of manufacturing across the nation. Stellantis, one of the world's largest automakers, is embarking on a major transformation at its Brampton plant. For decades, this facility has been a cornerstone of Canada's automotive industry, producing iconic vehicles like the Dodge Challenger and Charger. Now, the company is overhauling the plant to focus on building electric vehicles, marking a pivotal shift not just for Stellantis, but for the entire region. This move is driven by powerful global trends and increasingly strict emissions regulations. Automakers everywhere are racing to electrify their fleets, responding to both government mandates and consumer demand for cleaner, greener transportation. The Brampton plant's transformation is part of a worldwide push to reduce carbon footprints and embrace new technology. But for the more than 3,000 employees at Brampton, this transition brings deep uncertainty. Many have spent their entire careers mastering the skills needed for traditional auto manufacturing. While retraining programs and support packages are being offered, there's anxiety about whether these new skills will truly translate to stable jobs in the electric vehicle era. For some, the prospect of starting over is daunting, and the fear of being left behind is very real. Generations of families have worked these lines, passing down knowledge and pride from parent to child. The Brampton plant isn't just a workplace, it's a community hub, a source of identity, and a symbol of stability. But the shift to electric vehicles demands entirely new expertise, from battery assembly to advanced electronics, leaving many workers anxious about their place in this rapidly changing landscape. The impact of the shutdown ripples far beyond the plant's walls. Contract workers, parts suppliers, and local businesses all feel the strain as production halts. Families across Brampton worry about their futures, and the local economy faces new challenges as a once reliable source of income is disrupted. The challenge now is to balance the urgent need for innovation with the responsibility to support workers through this seismic transition. Unions, management, and government leaders are all searching for solutions, whether it's retraining, new investments, or creative partnerships, to ensure that no one is left behind as the industry evolves. The Brampton case highlights the very real human cost of industrial change. It's a powerful reminder that as we build bridges to a cleaner, more innovative future, we must also create real pathways for workers and families to thrive in the new world that's emerging. The sudden shutdown of the Stellantis plant sends shockwaves through Brampton's economy, rippling far beyond the factory gates. Local diners that once bustled with workers grabbing breakfast now sit half empty. Shops that relied on steady foot traffic from employees see their sales plummet. Service providers, from mechanics to dry cleaners, feel the pinch as their regular customers disappear almost overnight. With thousands of workers facing layoffs, the impact is immediate and severe. Families tighten their budgets, spending drops sharply, and the ripple effect spreads. Small businesses, already operating on thin margins, struggle to stay afloat. As their revenues fall, many are forced to cut staff or close their doors, multiplying layoffs beyond the factory walls and deepening the economic pain across the city. The city's budget takes a significant hit as property tax revenue falls, leaving officials scrambling to balance the books. Essential public services like libraries, recreation centers, and transit face cutbacks. At the same time, demand for social support systems surges as more residents turn to food banks, employment centers, and housing assistance to get by. As unemployment rises, property values stagnate or even decline. For sale signs linger on front lawns and families worry about their future. Young people, seeing fewer opportunities at home, begin to leave Brampton in search of work elsewhere. The community's resilience is put to the test as neighbors gather at town halls and community meetings, searching for solutions and support. The closure is more than just an economic event. It's a social challenge that forces Brampton to confront its identity and future. Residents, business owners, and local leaders come together to brainstorm new ideas, launch reinvention projects, and support one another through tough times. The spirit of resilience and innovation becomes essential as the city looks for ways to adapt and thrive. The fate of Main Street is now closely tied to the factory's future. Once a symbol of prosperity, it now stands as a reminder of the challenges ahead, with empty storefronts and for lease signs marking the uncertainty that hangs over the community. The big question remains: can the community adapt and reinvent itself before the economic spiral deepens further? The answer will shape not just Brampton's economy, but its very sense of identity and hope for the future. The Brampton plant's shutdown doesn't just idle one factory, it disrupts a vast, interconnected supply chain. Tier 1 suppliers from Windsor to Markham must cut production and jobs, while smaller Tier 2 and 3 companies face sudden order cancellations. A single closure triggers layoffs and hardship in towns across Ontario and beyond, revealing how deeply linked the economy is. Just-in-time supply chains, built for efficiency, have no cushion for shocks like this. The lesson: Canada's manufacturing ecosystem is only as strong as its weakest link. Every decision in a boardroom can send ripples across the entire network. The economic fallout from Brampton's shutdown spreads quickly. Job losses lead to less spending, hurting local businesses and triggering more layoffs. This cycle can turn a local problem into a regional recession, with reduced tax revenues and increased demand for government support. Governments face tough choices: cut services, raise taxes, or borrow more, all while trying to restore confidence. The psychological impact is just as real. Uncertainty breeds caution, slowing investment and growth. Even those still employed spend less, fearing they could be next. The ripple effect is both financial and emotional, casting a long shadow over the community. Recovery depends on breaking this cycle before it deepens. Canada's auto industry is tightly woven with the US, with parts and vehicles crossing the border multiple times before reaching customers. When Brampton shuts down, American suppliers lose orders, leading to layoffs and slowdowns in Michigan, Ohio, and Indiana. The pain is shared on both sides of the border as the health of one region's industry directly affects the other. Recent supply chain disruptions have shown how vulnerable this integration is. A single incident can halt production continent-wide. Government incentives and corporate strategies are shaped by this cross-border reality, as both countries compete for investment and jobs. The fate of Canadian workers is inseparable from decisions made in Detroit, Washington, and Toronto. Stellantis and Unifor have crafted a transition plan, offering income support and retraining to help workers adapt to electric vehicle manufacturing. Federal and provincial governments are investing heavily to anchor future auto jobs in Canada, sharing the risk to keep high-value manufacturing at home. Local efforts focus on supporting small businesses through grants, loans, and buy local campaigns, aiming to keep the commercial ecosystem alive. But these measures are only as good as their results. Retraining must lead to real jobs, and businesses must survive until the plant reopens. The Brampton shutdown is a test of Canada's ability to manage industrial change. Success depends on sustained collaboration between company, government, union, and community. Brampton's story is a glimpse into the future of Canadian industry, where adaptation and lifelong learning are essential. The shift to electric vehicles is just one of many disruptions. Energy, forestry, and other sectors face similar upheaval. Canada's prosperity depends on investing in innovation, green technology, and robust retraining programs. Public-private partnerships will be key to anchoring new industries and supporting workers through transitions. Strengthening the social safety net and focusing on both technology and people will be crucial. The choices made now will determine whether Canada's economy declines or is renewed. The silent factories of today could become the high-tech hubs of tomorrow, if we act decisively.